So let's talk about George Hirst then as a whole, because obviously he had his injury setbacks this year, last year, since he's sort of signed, but obviously we know he's got quality there. He's only made 5 starts this season, but he's scored 5 goals. I think 21 off substitution appearances. So yeah, he's really has showed that he has been able to step up to the Premier League. What have you liked about his spell this season?
Well, I like the fact that he's just an all-round striker, George Hirst. I do think we need to remember that he only really had half a season in the Championship, really, with that injury that wiped him out from Boxing Day right till the final week of the season. I think was Coventry his first game back. Well, certainly the last week of the Hull, that's right. Yeah, he came back for the last 3 games, didn't he? The final week, but and prior to that, he'd been League One with Ipswich, League One with Portsmouth. He'd had some fairly disappointing loan spells in the Championship where he didn't get the minutes that he wanted with people like Blackburn and Rotherham. So this was a big step up for him, coming off the back of a 6-month injury. Then he gets another little injury setback. He get one in pre-season. Then he had the knock at Tottenham as well. So all things considered, for him to have had the impact that he's had in the games has been really, really impressive. There's an argument that as good as Liam Delap has been, Hirst makes the team better. Delap is quite individualistic. He's trying to do everything on his own, isn't he? And it's great when it comes off. He's fighting centre halves. He's charging at people. He's smashing shots as hard as he can from all over the shop, and it gets people off their feet. But I think George Hirst knits things together a little bit more. There's certainly an argument for that. You know, he came on 68. I'm just looking at some of my notes from the game. On 71 is a lovely little touch around the corner that sets Jack Clark sort of running away, and it's a good tackle from O'Brien to snuff out the danger. 73 plays a really sharp 1-2 with Hutchinson. We're talking about how does Amari get in the game a little bit more. All of a sudden, a different type of striker comes on, and it's bringing others into play. He teed up. There was a nice little sort of layoff for Enciso on the edge of the box after Jacob Greaves had been on a bit of a left-back adventure. And then finally, he gets the goal with a really smart centre-forward far post header. He, does everything right, times his run, downward header, squeezes it inside. And as you say, his goal tally for his minutes is really impressive. But beyond the goals, it's his all-round play. He's got a bit of everything. He can drop deep, he can link, he can run in behind. He's got a good size on him. He's a threat in the air. When we did the live podcast recently, I think everyone was, he'd had a good game. That really good headed goal against Forest off just before we did that live pod, and everyone was quite happy by the fact that George Hirst will hopefully step up and be the man for Ipswich next season. So he'll need some help. He'll need some support. Ipswich can't leave themselves light in the striker department again, but it's another little what if this season. If George Hirst had been fit all season, would it have lessened the load on Liam Delap's sizable shoulders a little bit more? Or would they have had more bench options? We're talking about depth having been an issue. We'll never know, will we? But very impressed with George Hirst for both in this game and throughout the season.
And AJ is so easy to talk to as well. Obviously, he gets put up to press a lot because when he does score, or because he's just a good speaker, isn't he? We've got another clip that I'm going to be playing shortly, but just your thoughts when you speak to George, because obviously he's a big lad as well, but he's obviously very well spoken.
Yeah, it's fun where you see the height difference. He's one of those where you really feel the height difference talking to him. It's the accent for me. That's what stands out. Proper Yorkshireman. But he's incredibly humble and respectful of his role. Yes, he always wants more, but he's someone that always talks and he always puts the club first as well. And it's not like it's great for me. It's great for the club. And talking about the club's vision down the line, things like that. And with strikers, when they're so target oriented, it becomes rare that you see someone that's like that, I think. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for the way that he kind of approaches things mentally, and it comes across in the way that you talk to him as well. He's a genuinely humble, down-to-earth guy, and personalities are a big thing at Ipswich, aren't they? And having the right kind of person to fit in, I don't think it's possible to not get on with George Hirst.
And he's only 26. Sorry, Russ. I don't know if this is the clip that you've got teed up, whether it's a Hirst clip or Kieran talking about George. But Kieran spoke about the fact that his profile of striker, and Kieran does like these kind of tall and mobile centre forwards. They tend to bloom a little bit later because, if you're quite tall and gangly, it maybe takes a little bit while for you to kind of grow into your body and add the physical aspect. For whatever reason, they tend to kind of hit their prime a little bit later, and he feels that George Hirst certainly fits into that category and sees him still as a young striker, at someone who turned 26 in February, and that there's still several levels that George Hirst can go through. So hopefully that is the case.